What began as a small depot along the Mombasa-Uganda Railway in 1899 became the capital city of British East Africa in 1907. This is Nairobi City.
Before independence, we had what we call containment policy, which means we contain urban development because we did not encourage people to come to the city unless you have a purpose to come to the city. But after independence, that policy was not tenable. So it means that independent government had to pursue a policy of accommodating growth in the city. Now, to accommodate growth, the city had to be expanded in terms of infrastructure so that you are able to take urban development into the areas that were predominantly agriculture. Now, that called for heavy public investment in infrastructure that was not within the means of the central government. But apart from just the financial capacity of the central government, there was also very little interest in urban development. Remember, we pursued what we call go back to Shamba. We go back to the rural and to farm. So there was not consistent pro-urban policies. We had policies that did not encourage urban development. So there was not much investment in expansion. So what happened? People still came to the city even though government was not investing in infrastructure.
Nairobi, now known as City in the Sun, has seen tremendous growth socially, economically, and its population that now stands at an estimate of 4 million residents.
We are over 4% annual growth. Obviously, we have 100,000 people coming to the city every year. That is through migration. I would think that for the next 10-15 years, Nairobi will still continue to grow steadily.
That means that governments, they need to react as speedy as possible in order to plan for this upcoming youth population which is arriving, and if there's no proper services, they will go directly to the informal economy, or not just to say informal economy, or even worse, to the illegal economy.
The rapid growth of cities like Nairobi, however, comes with its effects, both positive and negative.
We have a scenario now where development has gone ahead of infrastructure development. So basically what we are saying is that sometimes we follow people with infrastructure when they have already gotten there. But I think in the last 10 years, since 2002, we have to appreciate that substantial amount of work has been done in terms of improving infrastructure provision. And I think a lot is going to be done. But we have also to now to begin to look at how to use our resources more efficiently.
For Nairobi, lack of proper facilitation towards development has led to spatial populations with over 40% of the residents living in poor conditions within informal settlements.
There is no way that we can romanticize with informality that is happening in our city. When the city is increasingly, if informality is increasing in the city, then it means that poverty is spreading very fast in the city. So also we need to look at how can this city not just develop in a sustainable way, but generate decent jobs that can actually change the life of people. Because if we want to transform the city, the nation, to a middle income, then Nairobi must be able to move people from Mukuru to a level where they are earning incomes that can permit them to participate in the formal housing market.
Fighting against the slum, it's very complex and difficult because, as I said, urbanization is a process which goes in parallel with development. And as your economies now are growing very fast, there's more and more people arriving to the cities. And then it's a kind of, in the slum there's a process that somebody moves from the slums or improves, but at the same time more people is arriving to the city, And for a lot of people, the first stop in the city is the slum.
Questions of who is actually responsible for transformative and sustainable development are evident from every corner.
We have discovered that majority of people who are doing illegal developments are actually well-educated professionals with information. Yes. With information about the right thing to do, but they plan to evade doing the right thing right from the beginning. And that's why we think that attitude change is very critical for us. And values. What values do we stand for? Because you cannot have a city where people can do anything.
Strategies on urbanization have been numerous in Nairobi City, but in an uncoordinated manner since no policy on urbanization has ever been formed, something that the UN Habitat highly discourages.
The first thing that we propose is a national urban policy, as is a kind of design and objectives and debate at the level of the Council of Ministers about what do we expect of urbanization in our country.
Urban development policy, yes, it has not been approved yet. It still go through the processes before it becomes adopted by government. But it is the first attempt in Kenya to begin to look at urban development as significant in our socio-economic development and expressing it in terms of policy and how you would want them to contribute in transformation of this nation to a middle class, a middle income economy.
The usual solution is to establish a basic and simple and not very complex but effective and enforceable city plan enlargement. Of course, we recommend that this plan of enlargement of the city should be as big as the expected growth of the city in the next 30 years. There's no point of doing small interventions that they cannot cope with the size of the problem.
The city has not been having one, by the way, for a while. Yes, the last one expired in the year 2000. And you can imagine that we are getting external funding for that. That should have actually been local, isn't it? Yeah, but it's also the same central government that has assisted us to get this. Now, this is going to look at a way in which we can remodel the city to what we want. So what the master plan is trying to do is to look at how to come up with an efficient spatial economy that can be internationally competitive.
With over 50% of the population being the youth, unemployment remains a major impediment to development of cities. And currently, Nairobi being a harvest hub for greener pastures faces a greater risk.
The rate of churning out graduates, either in these tertiary institutions or in universities, the rate is higher than the rate of absorption into the private sector and even government. So, and also look at the number of dropouts from high schools. Those who drop out are many, and the ones who come, they drop out and they're headed to the city are even more.
The issue of having selected development within certain areas of the city has brought about the slums. And although one of the UN Millennium Development Goals is to have cities without slums, it will be a tall order to have them totally eliminated.
You know, Nairobi will qualify to have up to maximum of 6 municipalities under the law, because they are saying a municipality can be from 500,000 people and above. Now, Nairobi is over 3 million, so qualifies to have 6 municipalities, which can be put under different management boards. And this is the way that I'm looking at it. The county will take care of Nairobi in totality as a unit, but will secede some of its management powers to the management boards at the municipal level. And that is critical because the purpose of decentralizing management of cities is to enhance public participation in management of the cities. And the reason why you need this is because today we are struggling with an old approach where we think that government can do it or city council can do it. But city council can succeed when there is more cooperation with the stakeholders, and stakeholders own the instruments of governance that we are applying. If you go to them, you're saying this is done wrong, because they are the ones who created it. They were part of the process that generated those instruments. Then they would be compelled to comply and cooperate with you. So the issue of decentralization is very, very critical, and that will certainly improve. So I don't see that I don't see any problem in transiting. And you know, transition is given a long period of 3 years, even after elections. That will still be the transitional period.
Lack of security, adequate infrastructure, and provision of poor services is not anything new to some parts of the city. But all is not lost, since Konza and Tatu cities are in the offing. But the big question is, will they turn out to be just like Nairobi? Henry Minor, GBS.